I'm a student, I say with glee, of Ginger Cook's Academy. Take your time and do not rush. Use ruby satin silver brush. Don't use black and mix the green. Learn what blend and grayscale mean. Yes, I hope each day to earn coaching praises as I learn. I'll be an artist, wait and see. Ginger means the world to me.
Hello from Studio B, live from Houston. We have Ginger Cook and John Little and Sammy, but we have technical difficulties. Ginger, you're going to be on the screen shortly. And let everybody know it's Ginger Cook Live. Just go to the home. Ginger Cook Live. It's the instant. How are we going to get people know this? We have to work on this so people will know how to get to us when we go live. Ginger, you're out there. Why don't you say hello to the folks as they try to come over and find us?
Okay, hi everybody, this is Ginger Cook. You know, when we do these live lessons, it's always a challenge because there's always some technical things. Sometimes there's a lot of people doing things on YouTube. Maybe our stream isn't caught, live stream. Who knows how this works, but you know, the wonderful thing is that John is really a technical wizard and he's making this work for us. So I hope you find us. This is what we would call a ginger snap, which basically is a little different than painting with ginger on Tuesdays, or cookie crumbs, which are usually tidbits of information which somehow drag out into hours. I don't know how these things happen. Who knows how long we're going to go tonight. I hope you find us because I've got some great stuff to show you. Has anybody caught up to find us yet with our snaps here, John?
We got 104 out of the 200 people that have been looking.
104, right? Well, I'm going to wave to those. I mean, glad you found us. This is one of the things I guess some people can kind of catch up. What I want to do, two things tonight. We're going to do a ginger snap. We're going to talk about, you know, the biggest problems people have when drawing buildings. But also, I want to talk to you about the idea of what I would call a Ginger's Captain's Log supplemental. Now, last night, if you'll recall, we painted this wine bottle. And here's what I want you to do. When you paint something, go away for a while, maybe put it in your living room, look at it for a couple days, and then say, okay, if I was going to change something, what would I change? Sometimes your mind just needs a few hours to process. Just like, for instance, if you write a letter to somebody, walk away, come back and reread it, you see maybe a sentence didn't quite go right, or you think, oh man, I better not have said that, you know, and then kind of, you know, delete it, those kinds of things. Well, you do want to be able to do that with your artwork too. I'm not a big fan of having other people come in and critique it. I think that's some of the worst things you can do. If you have somebody professionally like me who's a professional art coach, look at it. I'm going to tell you some positive things. Sometimes when you let the peanut gallery, as I like to put it, don't have any art sense. They just, well, I don't like that, or I don't know why you did that, or they'll challenge you or something like this. That kind of feels icky and it makes you feel bad about the painting. The idea is to feel good about the painting. What can I do to improve it? What can I take away that won't ruin the effect? How can I turn on the lights? Those kinds of things. So after I left you last night, I was looking at this, and I still have some palette left over. And real quick, I'm going to show you some changes that I personally felt like I needed to make this picture work. All right. Now that's a little different, you know. I mean, it was okay, but here's the thing. I'm going to take my triangle, come right up here like this, to the top of my bottle on this side. You see that? And I'm going to just take a little general charcoal pencil like this, and that's where my straight line should have ended, right here, just like this. I should have had that straight line go all the way up here like that, and then the shoulder should have come over. I know this is picky, but it bothered me, and I needed the shoulder to come out a little bit like that. I can draw it in and see if I like it a little better, like that. Maybe just a little bit wider here. There you go, just a touch. Now look, I'm using a charcoal pencil. It's white charcoal, so that'll erase pretty easily, but that's something that I saw. Now one of the questions, and so it's easy enough to fix, all I have to do is take a little of that green color, and I still have a little bit from the palette, you know, and I probably want it a little lighter anyway. So I'll just come up like this, now using a little angle brush, and I'm just going to come up and straighten that out and maybe even make a highlight here on the side of the bottle. Kind of see what I'm doing there, like that. And then I'm just going to come down. This is the, just going to dry brush that out here like this. Maybe want a little bit of a highlight. Just needed to kind of round that out a little bit. And I'm going to come kind of creep in here like that to that highlight, make sure that highlight's curving over my bottle. And as I'm doing that, here was a little mixing white. Now my paint dried up a little bit, but I had it under a little plastic dome here. So I might just come in here like this with a little bit of the mixing white right here like this and do another little highlight right here on this bottle. Right here. Didn't have it in the other picture, but I might want it. And just maybe come up like this. Probably bring this down more straight, and then that way. There might be a reflected highlight right there. I'm going to put it. And then here too, right here, just coming like that, just on that. Just some tiny little, I know it's kind of silly, let's just come here and add a couple little highlights down here like this. Let's come on down. And then at the bottom, right like that, I'm going to put another one. It doesn't hurt. These are the little touches that you can do that, you know, kind of make you feel better about your picture. I think, and again, it's small. It's not a big deal, but this is when you do it. Now the other thing is that somebody's felt, besides the cute gecko pictures that came in, Lori Cass sent us a real gecko label from something. If John's got a picture of that, he can show you. But somebody else had asked me, which was a very good question, and we're gonna address it. What if I'm gonna put out some fresh mixing white for this? What if, you know, could you knock back this label if she felt that, or he felt that it was a little strong? Now here's some mixing white, and I want to show you. You already see what this is, right? So I'm going to just take a little mixing white, a little water on my brush, and I'm just going to kind of brush over this almost like a fog, right? And I'm just going to tone that label down a little bit. Put it on the brush, wipe it off like this. Just sort of come over here and just tone down the label. If that's all you have to do. Mixing white will push anything back, give it a little atmospheric perspective. If it's too much, just wipe it off in a couple places. And absolutely, you could do that, something like that. You could even add, say, a little brown with it. And here's like, that's probably too much, but let me show you what would happen if we did that. Just take a little brown here and maybe shade this a little more here on the edge. You know, with your label, maybe just, you know, come back and, I mean, nothing is ever a done deal. I guess that's the point I'm making. It's not a done deal, but on the other hand, at some point you've got to sort of celebrate what you did. This is the key. Celebrate what you did and be glad about it. Maybe you want a couple of touches, but don't come back 3 years later and change your painting. This is a progress report. You don't go back to the first grade and correct all your reports you did in the first grade when you were in college. You accept that that's what you did. And, you know, might even keep some of that stuff you did when you were in the first grade and say, you know, I was a pretty smart first grader. Well, you're probably, if you're just starting out, you're a pretty smart first-time artist and a second-time artist or a 5-year artist. It's okay to grow and change. I learn new things all the time, and I never stop learning it. It's important to always be willing to expand your art vocabulary. How's that? Art vocabulary.
That's good. So, can we share the label before you go on a little bit?
Sure. Can you want to share that little label real quick, John, for us? There was the gecko label. Now, okay. John feels very vindicated from Lori Cass, who sent that in, right?
Well, I like my support. And Sammy happens to be in the lower left corner for people to see him on the Sammy cam. And he happens to have his little gecko with him at this time.
Okay.
So you don't get to see that, Ginger. I'm sorry, you don't get that part of the feed.
I don't get that part of the feed. All right, the other thing is up here is that this dark got in here pretty close. Do you see that? And the other thing I want to do is maybe just touch that up a little bit. So I'm going to take a dry brush, and if you recall, we had a little bit of yellow and a little bit of Cad Red Medium is how we made that color. You guys remember that? And it's, you know, so let's see, I'm just going back over this palette I had and sort of, you want to show the palette, John, for a second?
Let me do that because you're...
Real quick, and I'm going to just kind of going over here trying to mix this kind of orange color like that right here on the palette. Now I want to take my brush and wipe it off like this. Back up here, I'm going to just get a little bit lighter closer to the bottle like this. All right, and then as I come out like this, I'm just going to kind of lighten this up a bit. Now that's a little bit lighter than I want, so I'll add maybe a little more red to that. Here, and maybe that's a little darker than I want, so maybe I'll add a little bit of burnt sienna to that. Remember, you see me mixing on the canvas all the time. And I'm just, this is called dry brushing. I'm just kind of scrubbing this on here like this, pushing pretty hard. And I just wanted to bring this out a bit. It just seemed a little bit, too closed in there. And I'll take some of this lighter orange that I just did, come up here like this, maybe come closer to my bottle here, just lighten this up here a little bit. You can come back, change your background, do that kind of thing. That's just really doable. And here, what about up here? This is sort of bugging me too, right? As long as it's talking about bugging, just there like this, above this bottle like this. Maybe we'll lighten it out. Just add a bit more glow to the bottle. And I like that here too, a little bit more glow behind the bottle. Here's my yellow, a little bit of caviar. Now this paint's pretty dry, but I saved it from last night. A little bit of yellow. And just mix this on here. Now look, I wipe it off and then just come along here like this. Do you see this? And then just take a little paint, wipe it off, and just there. You know what I mean? You can play with your background. You're not stuck. So this is, this is Ginger's Log Supplemental. Something I might have considered doing. Maybe I want to put a little red highlight here from something else. Maybe the bottle's reflecting something here. I don't know. Could have been, from I don't know what's over here that might have caused a reflection. But in any event, that's kind of what I wanted to do. Kind of just fix that little spot on the bottle. Change the label a little bit. If someone asked about it, so that would be how you do it. Here's a little tiny brush right here. Let's see, a little bit of white. Maybe here on the horse's face, a little bit of a blaze. I think that brush is sitting here because it sat overnight in water. But look, I'm going to just do that for a little bit. Put an eye in here on the horse.
Snuck that one in on me.
Okay, I just wanted to do that. I mean, you can do a little bit of something. You could certainly could have put, you could have expanded your label up here, added some words, those kinds of things. Then maybe, just maybe, and here's some white. Let's just talk about that. Here's some actual titanium white now, like that in a couple of places. Let's just do that. Just there, just something like that. Now, ooh, that's pretty, isn't it? Just sometimes you just need a few little dashes of white here like that. And now you've got, I think, a pretty cool bottle. I like it. So that's what I wanted to do, just feel good about this. That's what I want you to consider doing. Just come back and kind of double check your stuff. Now I'm going to pull this out. Can I pull this out right now? See that? You can see up here where we have the corkscrew and the, on our highlights on the bottle, we put an extra highlight here. Could have even gone and it even played with this and more, but I'm pretty happy with that. Part of me wants to put something right there. I know, and I've just...
Part of you is about to do it, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
See, and this is finger painting, you know what I mean? Part of me wants to just do right here, right there, right there, right?
There it is.
There it is. See, just a little finger. Sorry, had to do it. All right, so I'm going to put this down. What we're going to be painting tonight, and we're going to talk about barns, is I found this photo. I think this is really pretty, don't you? We're going to talk about two different kinds of perspective, atmospheric perspective, and a little bit about drawing barns. And I have this 8x10 canvas, and it's yellow.
And boy, is that really throwing our camera off once in a while.
It's doing what, John?
Throwing the color off the camera a little bit.
I'm sorry?
That's okay. It'll be covered shortly.
It'll recover?
It will recover.
Okay, so I'm going to put my barn there with a little tape so I can see it, okay? I don't know where I'm going to put it, but here, let's just put it up here like that, okay?
Can I ask you a little question? It's kind of one
sure,
about,
can I answer some questions while we're doing that? Sure.
while you're getting set up there?
Sure.
What position do you find most comfortable to paint? Sitting, standing? What height do you put your canvas at? I struggle to find the comfortable position.
Well, first off, you got to find a comfortable chair, and one, W.C. Fields, said it perfectly. Never stand up when you can sit down, right? Remember him? And then, of course, he went on to say, don't sit when you can lie down. Of course, that takes it a little too far, but I'm a big fan of sitting, and you want a comfortable chair, and the idea is never get your hand above your ear, Okay, so if you have to stand up so that doesn't happen, then do that. Because look, all the blood is draining out of your arm when you do that. I don't even like to use the hair dryer up this high. I mean, you get stronger as you go, but still, I mean, you can see from, if you look at my wrist, can you see this? You know, I've got quite a muscle right here on my wrist, right here, from just, it's bigger on this side than the other, from just, you know, holding the easel and, you know, doing all that. But you want, you want to, and remember, you got to be able to see it. You know, do you wear glasses? You know, that kind of thing, how close you are to it. But a chair that you can change heights on, have armrests, that's really good. Okay, so we're going to come up here. We're going to 8 by 10 canvas. We're going to go about 3 fingers, do something like that. Here's our house, right? We're going to go about 4 fingers and come up here about 2 fingers, and then we're going to go straight across here like this and put a straight line like that. Now we're going to go up 3 fingers from there and put a line like this. Now we're going to do a slightly curved this. Now this is what's sort of interesting. Our barn isn't quite level. Normally you would go straight across, but it's higher on this side than it is over here. So now we're just going to alter that and then just do that. So there's our chalk. See, like that. Okay, so that was easy, right? And you know that if the barn's going over this way, we don't really see it. Now what happened here is, and I think I've got some colored chalk I can do something with. Yeah, I do. All right, so here's my, basically, here's my barn, and I've got a little, I don't have that big a canvas. I might make the barn a little bit bigger. Let's see, how many fingers is this? About 4. Okay, so we're going to say this is the red part of the barn. Now, and I'm doing that in the red chalk, okay? And then it's got a little lip that's sticking out this way and this way. So the angle going that way from the diagonal, that's coming this way along here, our chalk line. And then it's going this way. There's that little angle thing that's doing that. And then we're going up here like this at a slant. Now this is where I lose people when drawing stuff, is that they want to do something wacky with this edge. Whenever you have an edge like this, you must have a twin to it going in the same direction. This has got to be the twin, okay? Now again, it's a little lower here. You can measure it, see my picture, 2 fingers here. Well, no, this is a longer side than that side. So again, we're just going up like this, just a hair, like that. And the same thing here with the top of the barn. This is a funny kind of barn too. I don't know if I'm going to put that whole roof thing. I don't like that. I don't know. We're stopping it here, man. That's too weird. I'm sorry. We're doing a Reader's Digest edit of this barn. But again, we've got another severe angle here. Then we're coming this way and then back down like this to this side, and then the barn's going this way. So I guess they had some sort of little,
You have your
some
conveyor come out to
some
grab the
layer,
bale.
whatever that is. I don't know what that is, John. I never saw a barn like that, but okay. But I found the photo, so I'm stuck with it. So there you go. So this is coming out like this and out like this, kind of back this way, and then this little edge sticks off. Here's your barn, okay? Now you've got, of course, I made this barn a little bit bigger. I think I want to make it smaller. This is what we love about chalk here. Well, we're just going to do this. All right, so now I'm going to say that I've got we're going to put some hills behind it here and some little tiny hills back here. We're going to say we've got some sort of trees coming this way. We got something like this, okay? That's what we got. And then we got some trees here and we got something here. This is really a simple barn. And you've got a box here. Now look, this angle here. See, this angle here has to match down here of this, and it's going up into nothing in the roof. And then we've got something, here's the angle here that showed you. Here's level on the picture, and this is going kind of not quite level. It's going off there. When you have a photo, they kind of told you what it was. This is going straight, and there's our roof, okay? So I think my barn's, well, I don't know. It is what it is. I almost feel like it should be longer. It looks so much longer in the picture than what I've got.
Yeah,
So
looks like you've shortened
well,
it up.
I did, because this is a longer canvas, right? This is a longer
No.
picture, is it? No?
Nope, that's a 10-inch wide picture I gave you.
It
And
is.
that's a 10-inch
Interesting. All right. Well, maybe we'll just.
You're not as close to the edge, on the right edge.
Yeah, maybe I'm not here, and I'm gonna lower this. I'm gonna lower the barn a little bit. We're gonna just do a edit here.
We're having a couple questions. Why do we have that yellow background?
Well, we were painting over canvas, so we had a yellow background. Other than that,
basically for what we're doing tonight.
it didn't really matter what the
matter.
background was, so we had something, and you can see it better if it's. We had to have something on there, but other than that, you don't really need a yellow background. So okay, so now, all right. So basically, when I'm doing something like that, all right, which we are, I'm going to take. Let's just talk about this for a minute. Let's see. Let's try it for a brush here. Where's a ruby satin silver brush here? Should have one here. That's a little one. Want a bigger one? You know, I love it. I put all the brushes back. I should just... Didn't they all go back, or did we put them over here when I took those brushes out? What did I do with those?
I don't know.
You put them in the... Oh, they're over here. You had them. Yeah, that does. Okay, so they're over here. All right, so I've got this a bigger ruby satin silver brush. This is an angle brush. It's a 1/4 inch. And what I want to show you is we're going to just take some white and a little ultramarine blue, a little white, tiny bit of cad red medium, and we're just going to make this kind of gray color, okay? And what I want to do is just come up here like this with the sky, right over the yellow. It doesn't really matter, okay? You didn't have to have yellow if you didn't want it, okay? Right over this, and we're going to say that this is our sky, and it's kind of gray. In the picture, the photograph, it's sort of off-white, but we're going to show you that. Now, the thing of it is what you've got to appreciate is that if you have a very busy barn picture, something like this, it's very busy, you don't really want a busy sky. You want something very plain. That looks pretty white to me. What happened to our color here? Okay. A little bit of blue here, and you see we're just kind of painting that on, sort of scribbling it on. Doesn't take much. Okay, so I just kind of want you to get the idea of this. This will be a fairly fast little painting sketch, you know, like that. But and people have written and said, how come you don't tell us ahead of time what all the stuff was? What I'd like you to do is, tell you what, I'd like you to just kind of, it's fun to paint along with me, and we've done that before, but if you can kind of watch what I'm doing now, and then watch it again with your stuff, it'll be easier. Enjoy the experience of asking questions, the camaraderie of these live classes. You know, we get a couple hundred people on here. Do more people find us, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're up there.
So, and then watch it again, and that helps. You know, that will it sort of cements it in. Does that make sense? Now I'm going to take the same color, like this. Now my colored chalk is going to mix with the paint, and it's going to change it. You're going, really? Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and do that too. Here's my kind of off-white barn, and it's a little bit bluer. This is still, that's pretty. Got a little more blue in it. I'm going to say that there's my barn here, like that, and I'm going to bring it down a little bit. The thing about acrylics is I hardly ever sketch anything because you can just change as you go. So I mean, I just sort of make adjustments as I'm painting. All right, now, here we go, like that. Now, and then this angle of the roof, and we're going to change it. It's a little bit wider, okay, whiter. And we're going to go this way. Do you see that? And again, we're mixing with our colored chalk. Now, what's happened? I've got sort of a light brown roof. Do I want that? Not particularly. Do I care? No. Okay, but I mean, that's what I've got. And I'm going to come down here and use the same thing, and here's my little edge of the barn, okay, like that little kind of roof edge, like that. And then what do I know over here? Well, what I know is that this little purple, a little burnt sienna, I know that that's this side of it, okay, so I'm just going to paint that in. A little burnt sienna, a little bit of dazzling purple. I think that's what that is, yeah. No, is that dazzling purple? What is that, Let me just turn that around because I can't read the label anymore. Yeah, that was. Okay. That's why I love the labels. All right, so we're going to come down here like this and paint this side of the barn in dark. Now, it's a red barn, so why is it dark? I always start with my darkest colors, and then I start layering over. Everything is about layers. Show them that horse, John. That's a real good example of something that got layered a bunch of times. That horse head that's going to be coming up for our members in February.
I'm digging it up now.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Everything gets layered. And that's very, very helpful when you can layer. You put one layer upon top of another layer, and then you just don't worry so much about it. Let's take a little bit of cad red medium now, mix with that, and I'm going to bring this out like this. Just put it in here, just kind of give it a little red look to it, and then back in the center here, this was this kind of dark.
Let me bring up Wildfire now.
Yeah, we've named him Wildfire. Thank you for those of you who thought that would be a
that's
good
a lesson
name.
that's coming up very shortly.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a horse. Now, all those pictures, those colors you see in that horse were done with layers, okay? So now here's the outside of this roof like this. It's a little bit darker here on the outside, and then we're going to do a little dark line here like that. That's why I love these angle brushes, because you can just do so much like that. Okay, so I'm going to say there's our little barn. And let's see, here we go, like that. There we go. So let's see, we got a little line going that way, and then there's a bush over here, so it doesn't really matter. And something's over here, and so then we've got this roof kind of coming up like that. And then down here at this angle, see? Then down here at this angle, and then along here like this. And then underneath here it's very dark, so might as well put that in, a little purple. Underneath here it's very dark under here, gonna sort of skinny that up. Okay. And then I'm going to come back into the Cad Red Medium purple and just say here's the little bit, this is just Cad Red here. So say here's our, but I had purple on my brush, so here's the front of this barn. Okay. It's going to be a little brighter than the other side, okay? So now we're just painting it in. This is what we call loose painting, but just sometimes it helps just to understand the angle stuff has to be at and that kind of thing, right? Now this hasn't, we got a dark line coming along there like that, see on our roof, all right? Now
Okay.
I could have made this barn a little longer, but I think it's okay. Now back here.
A little question for you.
Yeah, sure.
It appears that Ginger is scribbling with the brush kind of hard. What is her pressure really like? I am very, very gentle because I thought that was how it had to be to keep the brush. Help.
So the question is, how hard do I push on the brush?
Yep.
How hard I push on the brush. This is ultramarine blue, by the way, and a little burnt sienna. All right, and we're going to just come back in here like this and paint these back mountains in behind our barn like this. I'm pushing fairly hard now, but look, it depends on your brush. If you have a very soft brush, it doesn't matter what you do, you can't make it work. The thing is that, and I hate it when you'll see on Amazon, for instance, they'll say acrylic brushes, and they'll give you a good deal on the set, and you think, I should buy those. Really, your brushes make such a difference, okay? So here's this sort of blue color. We're going to come back under here like this, and we're going to say these are these back mountains behind the barn, like that. So I push, like for instance, like something like this, I'm pushing pretty hard. You can see the canvas kind of wiggling, can't you, as I'm pushing this? All right. Now I'm going to take a little phthalo blue and burnt sienna like that, and a little tiny bit of white. Make a little bit different color, and I'm going to come in here like that, a little bit more white with it. Okay, that's more of a warm blue. I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to put in another layer of hills in front of this one. Okay, it's going to come down around here like this. Just sometimes you can just do a fast sketch. Now, might you then turn around and do a larger painting with this? Sketch it in, see if you like it, that kind of thing. That's what we're doing now with these ginger snaps. And then, like up here, there's something else. But here's the deal: I can't do anything about up there until I fix this. Does that make sense? I've got to get the back layers. In acrylics, you generally paint from light to dark. So here's what we need to do. We need to dry the sky. And we need to dry these mountains, okay? So I'm going to do that, and John's going to chat with you for a second. How did the hairdryer get down here?
How does anything get anywhere, Ginger?
I don't know. It's a mystery, John. It's a mystery.
All right, a couple of questions. Perspective. Yeah, you're clear. We're going to be doing more perspectives in the future. We'll probably do some recorded stuff and put up as well. The other question was, would Ginger be showing how to place snow on pine trees? Yes. Not today, I don't believe, though. We want to do the barn and perspective on this, but we do want to do more pine trees. People are still struggling with that. And when you do this, you have to concern yourself with values and shadows. Oh, let's let Pernet, or is it not present? Let me get Ginger on that one. Ginger, we have a question for you.
Sure.
Talk one more time. I think I got you too loud. Say something, Ginger.
Hey, Ginger, this is me.
Okay, that's good. Okay, when you do this, do you have to be concerned? Do you have to concern yourself with values and shadows, or is it not pertinent?
Do what? When I do
I guess
what?
I think when you're blocking it in like you're doing.
Well, I mean, I know this is darker than this, but right now I just needed something on there like a sketch, like a painting sketch. Now I'm going to come in here like this. Remember, I had this dark. Okay, now I need to push this background. So I've got a clean, dry brush, mixing white, and I'm going to come over this mountain like this. Now look what happens. It acts like a film. Zinc white works too. Now look what happened to this mountain. What happened? It disappeared. See that? This is called atmospheric perspective. This is what you use a mixing white for. See how we just put it in the background? You put it on your brush, wipe it off, sort of pinch it off, and come around like this. And this only works if it's dry, right? A little more paint, a little bit of white, tap it off on a rag, come over here like this, see? You know, and then basically what you're doing is you're pushing this back. Now, if you need something pushed back and the mixing white or the zinc white is too strong, you can use matte medium. Actually has sort of a white haze to it. 2 or 3 coats of matte medium dried will cause a little haze. Did you guys know that? That's a sort of an interesting thing. All right, so I've got that one. Now I'm going to come down here like this, and I want to come in next to the barn. And this was, remember, this was our blue stuff, so I'm going to sort of change it and indicate maybe some trees here just by changing the brush direction. And just come in here like this next to my barn. I'm scrubbing hard now. I'm really pushing hard. All right, scrubbing this in here like this. Okay, next to my barn, I'm saying that happened there. And, all right, we're not going to get too detailed. I can push another one back a little further if I do a second layer of mixing white. Just push this mountain even back further. Say there's another hill. So you can create, see how we just created some hills? Cool, right? Now, while that's drying, okay, so we're going to do something else. We're going to create a row of trees here. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take some ultramarine blue, a little cad red medium, a little bit of yellow. We're going to make a dark green color, add a tiny bit of purple to it. Down here, mixing that up. Now, I want to come up here like this using the angle button. I'm using a little Simply Simmons brush because I happen to have it with the mixing white. Coming up like this. I love angles. I love angle brushes. You want to keep the ridges of the trees uneven. It's not a fence. Okay, like that. And some are taller than others. All right, so there it is. All right, these are my trees. It's probably higher up here like that. Okay, those are those trees. Now, down into this color, dark green color. See, right next to the barn. Now, what happens is that if you get close to this barn, this will act as a kind of outline barrier to this picture. See what I mean? So I'm going to come down here like this. I'm pushing hard, guys. I'm pushing hard, particularly with one of these.
Okay, when you say hard, how hard is hard? Let me do. I'm going to zoom in real tight on that canvas, and we'll see if we can bounce it. See what you're doing.
All right. So you see how I'm pushing? Boop, 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 boop. I'm pushing hard.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm pushing it so it covers, right? Now I'm going to come down here like this, and I push this so it covers. Now I'm going to take a little water on the brush, and I'm going to just come up here like this. If it was a bigger painting, I might do something. I'm just taking a little water on the brush. You see how that's a little lighter. I'll come up here with this background and indicate some trees kind of even behind this, because the water will sort of thin that out like that. See these little trees behind that? That's kind of clever, isn't it? Yeah, kind of like that, right? All right, so now we're going to dry that. All right, and yeah, we're going to dry that. You got another question? Well, wait, let me fix that. That looks weird. I don't know what that is. What was that? I don't know. Here we go. All right, better, more stair-stepped. Okay, good.
Hang on one second. Oh, yeah, we had a question. Is Ginger going to show us how to paint snow on pine trees?
Yeah, we're going to show that too. All right, you ready?
Show that tonight?
If we have time, we're going to show it. I'm going to show one thing about that, right?
Okay, I'm going to.
All right, here we go.
Okay. All right, I don't know how long she's going to be. I do want to remind everybody that our little holiday sale is coming to an end on, I guess, Sunday. It's a year membership, and you get 12 downloadable or 24 if you signed up for both Wave and Water and BLL. If you're a current member, let us know, and we'll work with you to cancel your current member and take you out. Other than that, on the 1st, our prices are going up just a wee little bit. And if you stay current, your price will not go up. You won't see a price increase. You'll be the same unless you have to stop and renew. And
yeah, we're basically, John, you got to tell people, if you've been a member with us forever and you started and you're still with us, we're grandfather you in. I mean, 10 years from now, you're paying this ridiculously, practically free rate to have your lessons, and other people may be paying a lot more. But as long as you don't lose, just pause your subscription, you're with us, man. We're with you, our merry band of artists. Okay, so now I want to create some atmospheric perspective here, too, on these ones right here. So now I'm going to take the mixing white, and we're going to come up here like this, and we're going to say that we're trying to create smoke now, okay? So that does not, I'm not going to erase these quite so much as I might have these others, right? But that's what we're doing here. We're creating almost a smoke feeling, and that's why I made this very dark, so that here's our mixing white right next to here like this. And I'm just coming up here, and I might erase a little bit of this, but I want to say that there's some, these trees, okay, are still in some sort of fog here. I lived in Washington State, and we saw a lot of this kind of smoky mist in the mornings, this fog stuff. We don't see it, so don't have the hills here in Texas to see that where I live. Okay, but boy, in Washington State, where I grew up, and around the Bellevue, Seattle area, this was very common, this kind of look. Maybe we'll just push that back a little more, too. Okay, so now, you see that? That's kind of cool, right? So now we're going to do this again. We're going to come back with our trees and do another level of green. The same stuff right here. Now we're going to come in here and do another level of green. This is our next layer. This is what we're talking about, atmospheric perspective. I probably should have dried that white, but I didn't, so.
Did you kind of dry brush that white on there?
I dried the brush. Brush was totally dry when I put that white on. You see, now this looks like too green, a little purple with it. Red grays green because it's opposite itself on the color wheel. I use purple because red and blue make purple, so there's red in the purple. All right, so I'm coming down right here by my barn here with this sort of dark green color and my trees. I'm not getting too clever with anything. Okay, not that we aren't marvelously clever, but I'm keeping it pretty still. Now look, see how we've sort of started to bring this in, and it's very dark right down in here next to our barn. Okay. Now this is this level of color, and there really wasn't much over here. We might say that right up in here, we might put something like this, just next to our barn, right, like this, and just fill that in like there. I'm just playing here. All right, here we go. And I'm really pushing hard because this brush doesn't carry the paint that a ruby satin silver does, so I have to work a little harder.
Speaking of brush, somebody has some brushes that are labeled for oil painting. Can they be used?
The problem with oil painting brushes is that they're very scratchy. They have a different feel to them. They're kind of a rough bristle. So brushes that you could try it and see. I mean, watercolor brushes, some of them are really nice for fine detail work, except that acrylics are very hard on them. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to come in here like that. Now you see what's happened to my barn. I just want you to see how this barn's sort of disappearing, and I could even have said there was a little bit of I think that's pretty good here. We're not going to get too crazy. All right. Now in here, okay. Now back in the front here, we're going to take let's find some yellow. Some clean yellow. This was yesterday's palette, so we're still working off of that. No sense in wasting paint. So yellow, a little bit of yellow oxide, a little bit of cad red medium, like that. All right, let's just find some color like that. Now let's just start coming in here like this, up and down. Now we change brush strokes, okay? Yellow oxide, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of cad red medium, kind of an orange color. We started going up and down like this, changing brush strokes. Remember, your brush strokes are everything. It's what something is. And this is, remember, we already had some gold down here on the bottom. There's a little green on my brush. I'm just sort of, I'm almost scrubbing this color on, see? It's very, very simple what we're doing here. And the same thing over here, kind of, let's see, a little bit of yellow oxide, a little bit of burnt sienna. Let's just come in here like that, make that dark, up and down, up and down. Sound effects and everything. All right, so now I can kind of, all right, so I've got that sort of laid in, okay? I'm waiting for this to dry so I can do something else. So I'm going to have to now focus on my barn. It's had a chance to dry. I'm going to put out some clean white, if I can, some clean titanium white here, like that. And I've got, remember we had that little kind of light blue color. We're saying that this barn is light blue. Now I've got the nice ruby satin silver brush now. I can be very careful.
It seems to be a breezy evening this evening, Ginger, with your hair flying into the
Well,
screen.
what's happened is that we've got this fan here because
we're 80 degrees here, and
it's 80 degrees and it's very hot in this house. I got to tell you, it's very hot in here because when the air conditioner guy came by to get the heater working, and this is a relative, we won't mention who it is, right? Not John, not Cinnamon's husband, but it was a relative. It's a mistake to use relatives, right? Basically, he jury-rigged the whole thing, and he says, I'll have to come back. I got to go out of town. I'll come back and work on it. Well, what about the air conditioner? Well, I had to unplug this for the heater to work. I'll let you know. Well, you know, we don't have a heater. We don't have an air conditioner. We got zip. And so now we got fans, basically.
we have fans, and we're working under hot lights.
And working under hot lights. So
That's
I've got
how we
fans.
like it.
So not that we're complaining.
No complaining here.
No complaining here. I'm just saying that's, if you see that. Now I'm going to just put a little color on this barn now. See, on this roof. Remember we had a little dark line here. Remember that? And you're just going to change that color. Here's our, now I just want you to say, I'm not pushing hard at all now. These ruby satin silvers do not require the effort some of these other brushes do. And here's this.
Did you use the ruby satin silver when you were doing the scrubbing?
No. No.
That's
I
sacrilege.
use the worst brushes I can find to do that and still make it work. Sorry.
Yeah,
All right. So now here's the, here coming under here like this, right? Here's our little roof. Like, remember, look at the brush strokes here coming out like this. Here's the edge of this little barn coming out at an angle like that. And it's got to come this way. Pinch the brush so I can still get it. It's got to come back this way, and I'll make some corrections. Okay, don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. Don't you like the guy that used to say that? Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's
Yeah.
all small stuff.
It's all small stuff. No
Well, I
big deal.
guess it depends. You know, you can say that, but when you're a kid and something goes wrong, it isn't small. It's like the biggest thing in the world that ever happened to you. I guess at some point in your life, you know, it's all relative to something else that's happening, and I guess you find things to be happy about. And I have to say that I'm very happy that we have, you know, a studio that we can show in, right? All right, that's kind of cute. See how that worked? And you're
It's
going,
looking
yeah,
nice.
that's kind of cute, right?
It's nice getting rid of that yellow background.
Yeah, that got rid of that yellow background, and then here's this sort of funny pointy thing. I really don't get this at all, but that's all right. It's just coming
That's
out
where
like
the-
this.
I'll have to
Here's this
explain to you what
tin
that
coming
is.
down here like this. All right, and kind of out here, and I'm not going to talk about it because I have no idea how the side of this goes, and it's just all right. Okay, so there's that roof. Now, the barn. So now we've got something to work with, okay? We've got, you know, this side of the barn is going to be brighter, so we're going to take a little cad red medium, a tiny bit of purple with it, like less than 1%. And we're going to come under here like this, and I'm going to do some up and down strokes like this, and then maybe back and forth. Remember, we got a little bit of a, always put a shadow. This is pretty much with houses, Rule 101. There's always a shadow between the roof and the rest of the building. Okay, so then we're going to come straight down here like that, and this is where the layering comes in. It's so effective. All right, this is where your layering comes in on your barn. See, it's already looking cuter, isn't it?
Already.
And I'm not going to do everything that was on the barn, but we'll do some of that, okay? Then over here, we had a little bit of red. There was just a little bit of this over here, kind of dry brushed on, a little bit of that. But there was this gray color. And remember how we did the gray color with the cad red medium, okay? So you think about that, there's this sort of gray color on this over here like this. Now we're going to outline this, remember, this has got to go at that. Oh, no, it's got to go down. This angle's got to go down here a little bit like that. So now I'm going to dry brush over the barn this sort of gray color, kind of like the mist color, okay? Like this, over that red stuff I did. Okay, and then it's coming here like that. Now we've sort of aged this old barn like that, see? And cool, right? And then there's a little bit of yellow and red makes a bright orange color. Everybody pretty much agrees with that, yellow and red.
Mark, that won't happen, buddy.
What? You don't agree with that?
No, I agree with that. Mark wants to add zombies to the barn.
Zombies to the barn. Well, yeah.
I wasn't going to say that out loud. I'm just trying to be quiet over here, answering some of the comments as they go by.
Comments. Well, you know, that's the beauty of being your own artist, that you can do stuff like that and nobody
Mark,
cares.
we would love to see yours when you get it done.
So, okay, so now I've got that orange color. I'm going to come over here. This is dried a little bit, and I'm going to tap in a bush over here that's kind of orange, like this. Now look, I'm just sort of tapping this in using the, just going to make up some sort of little bush here. How many different kinds of bushes do you think there are on the planet, John?
23,324.
That many?
Yeah.
You think there's more than that? So basically, if your bush looks a little different than mine bush, do you think it's one of the others?
Fine. It's one of the
I
others.
think it's one of the others,
Absolutely.
don't you? So here we go, a little bit brighter, a little bit more cad red with that, a little brighter orange right in here like this.
It's being suggested to put the tractor in. I will support you on this. No, the tractor to be too small. When we do the tractor barn painting, it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, right now we're just, now I'm going to just brighten up this barn a little bit here, dry brush some of this color over. Look here, because this is the front of it. Going to dry brush some of this red over the barn like that. See, just a little bit of that. Now, next to the barn here, I'm going to suggest that there might be some little bush, because there was in the picture. I'm just going to say there's a little bush here, like that.
I think that's looking good.
And
I like
over
that extra
here,
color.
there was a little bush. Oh, I know why we have to. We have to push that back for the bushes to show. All right, we can do that. We can push this back here for the bushes to show. I got that. I can do that. I'm empowered to do that. So how do we push this back right here? A little mixing white. Okay, that's probably dried right here, right? So we're just going to very gently push these trees back right here with a little mixing white and water. Now look what happened. They're there, but they're not really there. Does that make sense? They're slightly lighter. They're brighter, they're darker than the other stuff, right? But you're coming forward with this. This is mixing white. Everybody says, why do you want it? This is why you want it. It's just great stuff, right? Great stuff. All right, so let's do that a little bit more. Just one more coat of that. There we go, like that. Just come down here like this. Now, so then what you do, and you're going, there's more? Absolutely. Then what you do is you take a little pointy brush, like this, and you find like a purple color, and you come up, oops, like this, and you're going to come up here like this, and you're going to make a little tree here, like that. See my purple? Okay. And you just, you don't have to do much here. Just a little tiny purple up here. Let's just bring it up into there like that. Okay, a little thin tree. Okay, this is one of these little tiny zero pointy brushes. Trees are generally dark at the bottom. It's got a tree there. And we've got a tree over here too, which we're going to put in here. It's going to come up like this. Put a little tree over here because there was one. And the branches are going to be very thin. So this is probably, and remember, wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So this other tree may not show up as much because it's over something dark, but that's all right. We're putting it anyway like this. Maybe that's a little tree there and it's back in here like this. All right, so there's our little tree. So we've got a couple little trees, right? And now, as long as we're into the purple, what else do we have? I can come along here and let's see, didn't we have some tape somewhere? I bet we did. This is one of the ways where you want your window kind of straight. And as long as I'm doing purple, let's see, kind of tip the brush off like this, very gently. Put a little dark line right here.
I gotta admit, you guys are coming up with some great suggestions to put on your painting. So when you do it, but definitely share them with us, like the turkey, the tractors, and Bigfoot, zombies. I'm loving all that.
Of course
a
you are,
petrified
John.
gecko on the barn, a barn full of them. Sue, absolutely. I appreciate the thought and the support.
Okay, so yeah, and we will do a tractor in the barn. But I mean, if you want to know, you're kind of talking about how would you do this, right? You got a little dark line right here. You got a little dark line. But the important thing, you guys see? Whoops. You guys see these angles that we're talking about here? And this angle right here on this one, this edge right here has to have an angle like that on this edge. There we go. It's going to be darker down here at the bottom, all right? It's going to be darker down here too. Okay, out underneath there, all right? So it's starting to come to life. You can kind of see that, okay? And, oh yeah, I got distracted. I wanted a little tape.
Pretty hair, but it's blocking our view. Not my comment.
What happened?
Pretty hair, but it's blocking our view.
Oh, all right. Well, let me back it up a little bit. We were talking about getting a banana clip. I don't think they sell them anymore. All right, this is where I want my windows. This is my row of windows. Were you with me?
Yeah.
There's what I want my row of windows. So where did I put this? Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to draw my windows on like this. Let's see, I think I'll do a pen here where I want them, right? Like that. There's a window, there's a window, there's a window, and there's a window, right? Everybody's with me? Now I'm going to just, I need to do there and under here like this. See, then I want to just make sure I've got them. So I want to make sure that they were in a pretty good line. Now I'm going to just take the tape off and just, you know, I mean, we're talking about drawing in a box. This isn't tricky, but on the other hand, you want to, so you probably could have spaced them a little better than that. But all right, so those are our windows. Yeah, let's put this tape over here. Might want it again. Okay, so now little tiny brush, little tiny. This is a 3/8 inch ruby satin silver, a little purple, a little bit of red. Come right into the barn here like this. Use about the width of the whole window. Here you go. Here it is. One stroke down like that, but I've got them level. Does that make sense? And it's kind of a two-color tone, so I put the purple and the red at the same time, like that, see? All right, that's cool, right?
Very cool.
And then I'm going to come along here at the bottom. Ooh, way too much paint here. Let me find my rag. Fell off my lap. Okay, so what do you do when you have that? All right, so then you just take this like this, and we're just going to come along here like this and put a little shadow down here, kind of scrub this out like this.
Oh, I like that
Not
one.
talking about it, right? Don't want to talk about it, and I want to talk about something down here at the bottom of this barn like this. I'm just going to come up like this. This is our shadow side. And put a little bit of Cad Red Medium with that. All right, so just sort of blend that out. This is our shadow side of the barn, and this is all fading into whatever's happening over here, okay? Like that, kind of cute. Now, let's see, I want to come down out here. We've got this one, so this line's coming down here like this with the roof, right? Then out like that, so then we have to continue on with our roof line on the other side. Okay, like that. There you go. So there's our roof line like that. All right, so we've got a roof. There's our roof line. Here there was some sort of door. I'm just going to put a little purple on here. I just don't know. I'm not going to put. We're not going to get too much detail in here. I'm just kind of showing you how you might do something. And then we're going to tone that little piece of orange back a little bit. Okay. And now all we have to do is just tiny little things to finish off something like this. You're gonna want it a little bit darker under here like that. So just a little bit of purple like that. Just do like that, kind of a two-tone deal. Darken it under here. Okay. Well, I guess there was a window here. I guess we could put it in. You may or may not see it though, but there was a kind of a little window there on that side of the barn. And then we had some sort of little tree here. That was, remember we had a little tree here, so this was just kind of Cad Red Medium and Cad Jello Medium, some little orange leaves. You don't need a lot here, just kind of cross in front of that. If you want to come up closer, just we're saying that there's the tree here, like that. Just it's had a chance to dry, okay? And then there's some sort of bush in front of this tree right here that's coming in here like this. Okay.
Was there a barn door on this?
Excuse me, what?
Is there a barn door?
I think that the barn door is either on the other side of the barn or it could be right here, but we're not putting it in. Because I don't see it in the picture.
If you want to put a barn door in yours, you put one in.
You could put one in right here. You could put one in, and if you were going to put one in, you'd probably put it in, like for instance, here's the top of of this right here. There's some sort of little shelf here, and then you could put a barn door like this and maybe just make an X and just say there was a barn door there if you wanted. I'm just saying, you could say this whole thing was a barn door like that. Maybe just have a, you know how they do. That's it. You can put a barn door there.
You got to remember, guys, this is going to be your painting. Make it yours.
All right, but the idea, so what was I showing you in this painting? How to paint a barn? Well, kind of, maybe, but what I was showing you also was how to do atmospheric perspective, how to throw in some bushes, how to...
make sure that your roof lines are parallel and
yeah,
everything
yeah, exactly. Just these things that you want to kind of look out for, right? Now, if you wanted gray-green, you add a little red to it. So gray-green, because red is opposite on the color wheel. And I want to come back up here and add a little brighter green bush in here like this, maybe in the front. Okay, like that, some sort of little brighter green bush. And I don't know, just now let's come back with a little darker green like that. Again, put a little red with it, make it a little darker green. You've got some darker green stuff coming along here like this next to your barn. I'm going to just throw in something like this. You almost can scribble this on. I guess that's what I'm saying. And then let's just start bringing some brush strokes up and down like this. And I think I'll change brushes and do a bigger one. And just start putting in the foreground of this. Here we go. We're going to do it this way. We're going to just come up like this with some green now. I'm just going to start doing that. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to just blend that back. I always start with the darkest colors first, and then we'll go over it with some lighter colors like that. And I'm just going to start going up and down with the brush strokes like this, because this front part is really just all kind of blurred out. Here we go. We're just going to come up here like this. We could have put snow in here too. We could have put snow all over this field. I could have made this a snowy, you know, rather than a fall painting, or, you know, more where they didn't have any winter. Could have done something different with that. All right, here's some red coming down here like this. Let's get a little bit more green.
Ginger, how did you keep your palette from last night from not drying out?
What we did was we bought a cake pan. You know, you put cake in, and we sprayed it with water and stuffed it in the cake pan. Just misted it with water. This is how we kept it. Now look, see how I'm coming up here like that, and now I'm kind of going over that. Everything's getting layered. I guess that's the point I'm making. I'm putting all this color on here, but everything's getting layered like that. And let's take a little yellow oxide and add to that. And let's come up here. Ooh, I didn't want that dark green. Let's try a little burnt sienna like that. Here we go. Here's some darker kind of greenish, reddish brown color. Okay. Now what I have to do now, John, is dry this, and then I will go over it with something. And let's take a little burnt umber. Do I have any burnt umber out? That's purple. Guess I don't. All right, we're going to darken up this corner here like this, and then we're going to come over this. But basically what you've got here, and the yellow underneath didn't hurt a thing, by the way, having that yellow underneath. Now I'm going to dry that, and you can answer some quick questions, and then I'm going to finish this, you know, grass.
Okay. All right. So you understood how that happened. What do we got else coming up? I guess Waving Water. We got the skiing coming home is what's coming up for the members this week. And that would be on Thursday. And then if we get done with and we're working very, very hard on this, the Waving Water folk are going to be getting this one. It's a 20 by 30.
That's huge, and there's so many videos on it.
It's big. It's a very big lesson. So look for that, hopefully, for the Waving Water people in January. Let's go back to our star.
All right, so we're back here. Now I've just made a light color of a little bit of white and yellow oxide, and I've dried everything. Now I'm coming back up here with this brush, pinched it off, because I've rinsed it, okay? Paint the painting on the brush, then wipe it all off on the rag here like this. Wipe it off on the rag. And I'm coming back on here like this. And little yellow oxide, titanium white, okay? And I want to try to lighten up some of this. Put a tiny bit of purple. Purple will soften yellow a little bit, so it's not quite so bright. So here we go. Just come in here like this, small brush. I think I want to change brushes and use even a smaller brush because this painting is so little. Let's try a little angle brush, same thing, little angle. Make sure I've got all the water out of it, really pinch it. Okay, now I'm just going to come up here like this, touch this like this, start making some light highlights in my grass like this. Coming in here, just touch it like this, kind of dry brush over it, just kind of layer it. All right, like that.
Have you ever painted on glass?
Have I painted on glass? Yeah, but I don't really want to paint on glass.
Okay, we won't force you to do that.
I mean, but maybe you've got a glass table outside. There's some stuff at Home Depot you've got to spray glass with.
To make it adhere?
Yeah, to make it adhere, and it's for that step 2 plastic and glass, and it'll make the glass adhere, because that makes a difference. All right, do you see how we're starting to layer in the grass here now, here like that, kind of little light areas?
So doing the yellow undertone underpainting was a good choice for that foreground.
Yeah, it was a good choice absolutely great choice for the foreground, and it really was. And again, we're kind of layering over some of these dark colors, like that, and kind of toning them down a little bit. So everything's just how we kind of layered over that. Everything's toned down. Now, what we want is a little bit of kind of an orange color. And we want to brighten up something in the front here. So now we're going to come in with some orange. Now because the green is dry, now this is the trick. The green is dry, so it's not making mud, okay? It's not going all muddy on us. So now we're going to brighten up the foreground, make this sort of a fun little painting. It doesn't have to be the most exciting picture that ever happened in the world, right? Sometimes you can just do something like this, have a little, there's just a little scene, okay? And like that, here it is, like that. And then I want to come under these windows a little bit. Now that I'm looking at those, kind of fix those. Let's just come under, let's take some red maybe, come under these windows like that. Let's brighten up this barn now. Here we go again. Let's come under these windows, square them up, making them a little smaller. Okay, maybe just a little bit. You've got a brush, you can fix anything. All right, like that. It would brighten up that barn, or that brought that barn forward. There was, if I'm looking really close at this, gosh, it's amazing. You put your glasses on and you look at stuff. It's extraordinary, right?
No comment from the peanut gallery.
All right, yeah, best not. Here we're just gonna put some mullions in. Some of these windows were broken. Is that the word, John Mullions? These little cross pieces.
I just call them little cross pieces.
Cross pieces. All right, that's a good word. We like that. All right.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, so there's that, and then I'm going to come over here on this side of this little window and just indicate there might be a window. Just I don't know what this is over here, but we're putting it in. That's a little bit too white, like that. So what do you do with that? Well, you dry it and tone it down, and then let's come back up here, back to the purple, and just come back up here. This is where we always push our. This goes at this angle here. Let me just start with the red. Remember, we had this red thing that came this way, and it's going this way.
Ginger, we have confirmation you are correct.
It's a mullion?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, it's nice to be right.
Oh, if only I could be right once in a while.
I know, John.
I don't get that experience.
I know, and it's all right. It's okay. You know what I mean? Just some people have to, I have to be right, and you get to be wrong. That's what works. But I don't mind if you're right. I'm open for new experiences.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so now, all right, now that was a little bit too much there. Those are too white. Now, remember, I think we said this was some sort of a door. So, we could, you can't have this that white. So what do? You dry it, okay, and you tone it back. Now that's the key. You dry it.
I've turned her down. She may be talking, but nobody can hear her.
And look how fast that is. You dry it. Now, I'm just going to rinse my brush because it's got paint on it, and just come over here like that, and look what happened to those windows. They're still white. This is called glazing. We pushed them back. You see a little bit of them. You don't see that much. You see a little bit of this, and if I wanted to say like there was a cross piece on this barn here like this, and here's this coming out like that. Maybe I want to say that there's this, I mean I can indicate a little bit of a barn door here without going too crazy. Coming up here like this with a little orange. Again, we want to work on the roof a little bit more. Yeah, all right, let's just come this way with the red. Oh yeah, CAD red medium, I like that. Let's just come this way using this angle brush right here and pulling it to the side here. I want to have this red here. There we go. Oh, nice. All right, so there, I wanted this nice and bright here. Okay, see, just colors. It doesn't take much to make a few colors, just a little bit brighter red down in here. Everything's just sort of, you know, kind of dry and dead. Everybody's experienced stuff like that. And then we've got maybe some tiny little green things, white and sort of some sort of little gray, blue, green things. And let's say that there was some little bush in here like that. Came
Hey,
up
if you
like
folks
that.
haven't
Little
subscribed
back it
or-
up here like that. Just come in front of the barn like that, and some little gray bushy thing that happened here. You know, little turquoise and orange are complements. So anytime you can throw stuff like that in, that's nice. Maybe come across here like this, a little higher bush here like this, little gray bush. And then maybe over here, I want a little bit of that bush over here too. That's pretty, next to this building. Okay, and just lighten this up here like that. And then where could I put this color? Could I bring a little bit in here in the grass? Maybe down here a little bit, just something. Add a tiny bit more red to it. Sometimes that's a trick. The same color, just change it slightly and kind of gray it slightly, and it sort of all ties in like that. Here's this little bush down here. I mean, this is impressionistic painting. It's just you're suggesting stuff that happened.
Here's a question for you. Does Ginger like to draw?
Does Ginger like to draw? Sure. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of age this barn a little bit now. See this? See what I'm doing? Just going to age the barn a little bit with that same color. Okay, just like this. See? Well, there. Look what that did. That's kind of cool. And then what if we took what if we lightened this up, came up here. Where'd that tape go? I'm a big fan of this. Let's do this. Let's do this. This is coming
what are
up
you gonna
like this.
do?
I want this a sharper line. So maybe I can do it like this. I want this a sharper line like this. Let's see what happens if I do that. Yeah, better, huh?
Yes. Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
it just the silliest things, okay? And then maybe we'll just take a little white here because this was lighter, and just dry brush that on a little bit. Little sound effects. Nothing should be this. Everything should be the, different colors. Does that make sense? And no one particular. You just don't want the colors to be here like that. You want them to be different. So let's bring that this way.
Yes, Gail, that's what it is, a hay drop door. That's what that top opening is in the hangover.
Yeah, it's a hay thing up here
A
like
hay
that.
thing.
Some sort of little hay thing. Like a hay thing. That's for hay.
Hey,
There's
hey.
your barn. You might, if this was, and then let's see, what else could we do here? This is the thing. Wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So even in the photograph, it wasn't like that. You could put a little highlight on this tree. Just a couple if you wanted this tree to show up. Just add a few little highlights. Like that. The tree, that didn't kill you. And you see what that did for the tree. And let's see, I want to come down in here like this and break this up here a little bit, this corner thing. Just with what I had on the brush, like that. And we've got, I don't know, I mean, that's a cute little fast sketch, don't you think? And it didn't take much to do. Could we spend more hours on it? Sure. We could have. Again, that's what the Captain's Log Supplemental, we talk about that. Would you come back and add something else? Look at it and see. I got this little barn picture from, where did I get this little barn picture? You found it, Chuck.
I did on Pixel.
Just glaze. I'm going to put a little red back here on the back of this, kind of dry brush this over it like that. Okay. There we go on this barn. A little bit there. All right. Just kind of gave it a little bit of an old thing. That's kind of cute, right? And that was easy to do. It wasn't that hard. And you know what I forgot to do, John, and I want to do that now. We were really we got the most beautiful Christmas cards and postcards from people, and we're still mailing out postcards. John and I really want to do that. I want to just open this from a Helen Brenton. She sent me this nifty gift, and I want to just show you that. Look at this little bag here, and I want to just mention that because I really appreciate it. And this happens to be jewelry for your easel. How cool is that? Now look at that. Isn't that just neat? There's this heart thing right like that, and that's jewelry for the easel. Look at that. Easel jewelry. I didn't know easels got jewelry, but I'm a fan of easel jewelry. Look at that. Isn't that pretty?
I'm going to zoom in on it. You leave it where it is, and I can zoom in on it.
You can zoom in on that. Look at that. Isn't that pretty?
Give me half a second to get there.
Have you thought about easel jewelry? What a good idea.
There
Isn't that just great? Thank you, Helen. That's beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Now, might just put it like this, cross it over here, or maybe we'll hang it up here like that. So it's not, here it is hanging down there like that. Move this. That's pretty. So that's our easel jewelry. We like that very much. And remember, we have some hand-painted cards from people. This one happens to be from our good friend Sue Clark. She painted this. Can you see it? Can you zoom in on that, John? Right, like that. Look at that. She painted this card. This was layers and layers of color. Can you kind of zoom in?
So you can see
Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous with the little apple coming down? It's absolutely beautiful. And she's got glisten, peace, twinkle, frosty, all these little words that she put on. This is a kind of a collage combination from Sue Clark. Thank you very much. And she made a few cards, Merry Christmas, and she sent one. This was on our mantle. That's why you didn't see it. And then our good merry band of artists, artist Rhonda Reed, sent us a turkey for the Thanksgiving thing. Is that cool or what? Yeah, cool. Turkey. That's a lesson on YouTube. The turkey is a lesson on YouTube if you want to paint the turkey. That was sort of fun. I got a couple more. Let me just get a couple more. There's a couple more here.
Well, we do have one question while you're digging those out.
Yeah, from Terry Morris. And we've been communicating with Terry all day, have we not, John?
Yeah,
Terry and I have been communicating. She's been having trouble getting on YouTube. Terry's a fan, and she sent one quick. I think this is so cool. She sent, a beautiful card, but she sent these charms. One is a palette, and the other is a camera. How appropriate. Perhaps I should start this whole collection, John, of easel jewelry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'll have to set up something.
Set up something, because there's the little artist palette, like that. And then here's the little camera. Look how cute. Here, I'm going to show you. There's our little camera. We're going to have to find some way. Maybe we could hook these on the... Oh, we can hook these on the heart, like that. Yeah. Look at that. We'll hook these on the chain. How neat is that? We'll start that. Right, like that. We'll hook these on the chain. Yeah?
Yeah.
Like that, okay? That's what we're going to do. See, we always have good ideas, so we want to thank you guys. And I know a lot of other people have sent us cards and stuff. We can't, people get really annoyed with us that we just spent all day opening cards for you. These are a few, and I did think that was a beautiful card and a lovely letter. And she says, thank you for all you taught me in the world of art. You know what? We're a global community of artists. I like to be able to share what we know. John calls it a brain dump. Trying to get some information out before I croak. And, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and you're going to share it with others, I hope, too. It's not a big secret. No, everybody's all worried about what everybody else is painting. Who cares what anybody else is painting? No two people paint the same way. We could all paint the same painting, and all of us would have something different. And if you don't think so, go to my Pinterest page, 2016 Student Gallery, and you look at what people did with the same lesson. Everybody has their own handwriting. Everybody has their own personality when they paint. If you're in a bad mood or a good mood, boy, that shows how fast you paint, how slow. Maybe we could paint the same thing. One painting will feel very calm because the person that painted it is calm. And the reason we artists are so sensitive about this kind of thing is we really put our heart and soul in this artwork. And even something quick like this is sort of a happy little barn, isn't it? Don't you think so? And you saw how we used the atmospheric perspective to put this barn in here. Again, a couple of, we could put a cow here, a horse, or, just something in the front, maybe a little fence. Sometimes you're sort of stuck with whatever was in the photo. I guess I should show the photo again. I think that's kind of fun, right? Kind of consolidated the barn, shortened it up a bit. But you can see we've got the atmospheric perspective going, and that's what we learned tonight, how to do atmospheric perspective. Can I answer some more questions, John?
Yeah, we had one question. What does Ginger do with the paintings she creates for tutorials? Does she ever sell them?
We're talking about selling some of these paintings because
We have too many.
well, we have a lot, and I like them, and particularly, but sometimes I make duplicates. Like for instance that horse. When I did the horse painting, we have two.
Here,
and you can see it. I've been painting all day. All right. And I did that horse tutorial. Yesterday I painted the horse, and then today I did the horse tutorial. And and you'll see there's both horses, and I want you to see this because it's sort of interesting. Okay, so I'm going to this camera. All right.
That's
so
yesterday.
that was yesterday's horse, and this is the one I did in the lesson. Okay. And in this lesson, I show you how to grid it. Now they look. Even though that's me painting it. How am I doing this? Yeah. Okay.
You
it's
had
me.
it good.
They really came out beautifully. I love them. They're each slightly different. Even I will paint something slightly different. So the idea is when you learn how to paint this horse, you're learning the same techniques you're going to learn if you need to do a portrait. And sometimes it's a little easier to do, an animal. And again, this is layers and layers. This was a lesson I did today. And the idea is to help you develop these skills so that when you see something you're inspired, maybe you run across a photo like this and say, I just feel like painting a barn today, and we can whip that out in no time. Just give yourself a break, have fun. Painting is the most relaxing, and it takes you away from all the cares. It really does. It takes you into another world. You guys know what I'm talking about. And share what you know. And what was that nice thing that somebody told? Was it Terry? Somebody told today up in New York how somebody found us. This was so cool.
Oh, that was escapes me. But I was talking to a Jody.
Jody,
Jody
okay.
in New York. She was having a little technical problem, so I was giving her a hand, and she was telling me that a painting party facility up there recommended both Ginger and Cinnamon. The guy that owns 3 of them up there said if you want to go to the next level of painting, you need to go to the Art Sherpa and her mom, Ginger Cook, to learn a lot more.
Wasn't that nice? Someone in New York is looking at us and saying, you know what, you really want to learn, check us out. And this is true because there's all kinds of ways to paint something. Every week I try to show you something a little different, and yet you'll still, part of the brushstrokes, the stuff you'll get is me. And some of the things we talk about, I want to just say it again. And honestly, you'd think I was pushing the brush guys. I'm not. What I'm trying to say is that, those ruby satin silver brushes are awesome, and they make a difference. And you notice for all the detail work, I use those in here, and it's very fast. And sometimes you think it's you and it's your brush. And how hard you have to push on a brush sometimes depends on the brush. And if you go to thebrushguys.com and go to my page, I've got an artist page now, and they have a list of all the ruby satin silvers I like. And if you could only afford 1 or 2, get the 1/4 inch and the 3 inch angles. They're fantastic. Really, for detail and stuff, they're absolutely the best. Really like them a lot.
Okay, I think that's all we've got. Is there anything else we need to say?
No, except, listen, we appreciate when you share this stuff. Please subscribe. I meant to say that to our channel. Share it. Tell other people. I know you guys think it's kind of, fun. Some of the stuff we do is fun. And how are we doing on time? So it just came in here. And I think that
You
ginger
got
snap.
120. You got
120.
120. We had the guy that wanted to, we talked about doing the...
Oh, yeah, I was going to show you guys real quick about how to paint snow.
Where are you going to put it on?
I give up, John. What am I going to put it on? What do I got here that I can put it on?
If you take off the barn, can you do it on the black canvas there?
Yeah, I could. I could do it right here on the back black canvas. If I took off the barn like this, all right?
Just to pick a square, let me know where you're going to be. And
all right, I'm just going to sit there and say, here's my problem. I think I could even show it on the chalkboard. But here's what I'm getting, and here's what I'd like you guys to avoid. And if you've never seen snow, it's hard to appreciate it. But if you've got a tree like this, all right, here's your pine tree. Basically, I mean, you've got your pine tree starts off with the trunk, all right? All right, and if you think of lodgepole pines is how they make fence posts, but it's generally wider at the bottom, okay? goes up way to the tip. And in some pine forests, they just cut off this much for Christmas trees, okay? So at the top of your tree, it's very tiny up here. It's very little, okay? And then as you come down, it's bigger, right? Let's see, maybe I can change chalk colors. Do I have a different chalk color? I had a different chalk color. Weren't we using a different? Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So here's your pine tree like this, right? And you're coming down. Imagine this is not a dead pine tree, but some sort of pine tree. Now, as you come down, this is how you show branches. They're either going in this direction, like that, or they're coming across like this to show up. Like if this is a branch, this is how you show it. You've got some coming from behind or from the front. So now it gets bigger. So it's in other words, what it isn't is this. Okay, this is what you don't want to do. Okay, so now you're coming down like this, and here's our chalk again. Okay, this is kind of important here. It's coming down here. Then maybe you see a little bit of this trunk. Maybe don't. And the skirt is really big, right? Maybe it comes all the way to the ground. It's kind of dark underneath. Now you imagine snow falling. The snow has to land on the top of this, and it's kind of puffy. It's landing on the top, so it's going to be a little bit different, and you're always going to see some dark underneath, and it's going to come up, and it sort of mounds. All right, it mounds a little bit, right? And maybe you skip a little space, and maybe there was a hole and it fell through the hole in the branches. They're not like a roof or something, okay? So maybe there's another little patch of snow here, little patch of snow here, and then here maybe there's more snow that came in front of this like that. See already? Okay, now we're feeling snow here, feeling my snow. And what it isn't is this.
Now we had that one lesson that we did. What was that?
We talked a lot about snow, and that one we're going to talk about it too. When we just did a lesson on this, I think I just covered it, but I don't think I explained it well. If you saw that lesson and you didn't get it, then I didn't explain it well. Okay.
It has to be was the lesson we had with the Eiffel Tower in it?
Yeah, with the Eiffel Tower we explained it. With the Eiffel Tower, with the
so make sure you go
bench.
Watch that video in particular.
Yeah. Now look, here's some snow back here. Okay. And that's what I'm talking about. This is how I want you to consider. There are a lot of different kinds of pine trees, and then that snow has shadows, and we're not even going to get into that, but it gets very tiny up here at the top. That's kind of what you want to look for, okay? The thing of it is that your mind, you have to reprogram your mind for the new shape. Otherwise, you'll go right back to doing this, okay? And that's something that, it's easy to avoid. You just have to, get the shape in your mind. It's like holding your breath underwater. There's pearl divers in Japan, and they can hold their breath, 45 minutes or something.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't hold my breath 60 seconds. But hold your mind breath, your shape breath. In your mind, how long can you look at a shape and still remember it? You'll get better as you paint. You'll get better as you paint. And how long can you remember something? So if you have to have the reference photo right next to you so that you just look back and forth, so that you get the shape and do it one little bit at a time. And it doesn't matter what it is you're painting, by the way. If you can hold the shape in your mind for 10 seconds, then keep that right next to you so that because your mind won't paint what it doesn't know. Now you can you can accidentally do something and look and say, that looks pretty good. The problem with that is that you don't know how you did it. So you go to do it the next time, you have no idea how you got it. It's better to be deliberate.
Question, is there going to be more European Village series paintings?
There will be some more European Village series paintings coming up this spring. We just got kind of caught up in everything else and got kind of behind. So probably in February we'll start adding some more European villages. We've got, how many do we have right now?
9?
9, 10?
I think, yeah, 9 or 10.
9 or 10 of the European villages, and we'll talk about that too, and we'll show you that next week. I hope everybody has a happy New Year. I know Cinnamon's going to be having a live broadcast, I think New Year's Eve. That's her husband John's birthday, by the way. I'm going to announce that. Maybe they don't tell anybody. John, I got to say something. I'm going to say something about my son-in-law. For his whole life, New Year's Eve was not the ideal time for birthday. Christmas was really close. Everybody blew their wad on Christmas. his parents wanted to go out and celebrate. A lot of times he was left home alone for his birthday. No kidding. I'm going to say that. You know, so John's never had great thoughts about his birthday, and he's sharing his birthday with you guys because he feels like you'll come to his party. So, you know, it's John's birthday party. You know, they're going to, two of them are going to do a live show, you know, New Year's Eve, and I hope you join them. You know, we're going to wish John a happy birthday from me and John Little. We just hope they have a wonderful show, and you guys, my merry band of artists, you know, we all get together on YouTube and we support each other, and thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, and good night and goodbye from Studio B in Houston, Texas.